Had an interesting day. I'm just going to talk it through. I know that every state is temporary, so if this is anxiety, then it's anxiety. I don't know whether talking about it will help or not. It might not help. I suppose I just feel lonely. So scared sometimes. By myself, even though I've got my wife at the end of the phone. I know I can call her, but sometimes I don't want to put too much pressure on her, But it's better to call her in an emergency than call 999, which is what I did today. Because I called 999 and they said to, I was worried about my heart. I thought I had like chest pain, then I realised it was just panic. But they still said, oh, if it calms you down, you could go and get your heart checked out, and then you can maybe ask for some propanol. So I thought, okay, first things first, let's go and get my heart examined or something. Let's go and get an ECG or something. And I went there, and I went there and I just they looked at me like I was crazy, and I had a feeling that they were just going to like section me or something and say, oh, crazy. But I had a long conversation with my wife, and she knows I'm not crazy. And the reason why I don't act crazy when I talk to her is because I trust her. Sometimes it feels like she's the only person I can trust. Her and my kids, I was just so scared because I know what they can do. It's like, it's kind of maybe worth laughing at it, but I watched The Simpsons and I saw some of the episode of Homer in the pink shirt. And Bart puts the shirt in the wash and it goes pink, and he then fills in the form, and Homer looks crazy. But Homer, even wearing a pink shirt, it's not crazy. It's just a pink shirt. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a pink shirt. That's all it is. And of course, they didn't like it. But the worst part about it was, of course, that Bart, didn't. It was Bart that put the hat in the wash, and Homer had nothing to even do with choosing to wear a pink shirt. So he's like, it's wrong on all like three levels. He's being attacked. He's in trouble for something that's wrong. For like what they're saying is wrong when it's not even wrong. It's just a matter of opinion. It's just a pink. Who cares? Pink shirt. And then, and he didn't even do it. That's the second thing. And then three, he didn't fill in the form. And Bart filled in the form. And I know it's just a cartoon, but it almost feels sometimes that Sometimes it feels like that's what happens in reality. That can so easily happen, where someone's okay, but they're kind of not okay for a certain time because they're in a panic and they're scared, and all they want is like maybe a hug or someone just to reassure them and help them calm down, and all they get is like this kind of condescending, "Oh, we'll sort you out, we'll help you," and then they just leave you there, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, or they leave you on the phone and you're ringing and ringing and ringing, and then they answer to withheld. And I suppose they're not answering I was phoning to let them know that I just walked away because I couldn't just wait there going crazy there. So I just left, but I didn't tell them I was leaving because I didn't want them to force me to stay. So I just went, but then I wanted to let them know that I'd gone. And I just didn't want them to worry because I don't want them to suddenly turn up in the middle of the night. And, "Oh, we've got he's crazy, we've got a section, blah, blah, blah." So I've called, and I kept calling multiple times from my number, and it just rang and rang and rang and rang and rang, and it just ringing like for ages and ages. And then I thought, let me just try an experiment. I thought I'll call them from withheld, see what happens. And they answered really quickly. They answered like straight away, and I thought, I didn't say anything. I heard her answer the phone, and I just hung up because I thought, if this is like a trick, I'm not falling for it. Maybe they don't answer to any number. The most likely is they don't answer. They just take forever to answer the numbers, and they'll answer straight away to withheld because maybe they think it's police or whatever. But I just think that's just so awful. Like, to leave someone in a patient, just to leave anyone just ringing and ringing and ringing like that, and then just straight away answer to withheld. And this happened with someone I know years ago. This happened with someone I wanted to be friends with. And for reasons, I guess he didn't want to be friends with me. And I remember I called him many times, and a few times, let's say, not many times, but because he said, "Oh yeah, we'll meet up, we'll go for a drink or something," and not that it's a good thing to drink alcohol, but so maybe it's all for the best. Maybe because if I met him, if I'd been around him, I would have drank a lot of alcohol. That's what him and his friends do. They drink a lot of beers. So maybe it was a good thing. But at the same time, it was just hurtful to ring constantly from withheld. So not ring constantly from withheld, ringing from my number. And then, I can't remember whether I rang from withheld or not, but ringing from my number, I don't know how many times, a few times, and then rang from girlfriend's phone, and he answered straight away. And girlfriend at the time just pretended or whatever. "Oh, who's this?" She said, "Oh, sorry." And that was it. Because I asked her, I said, "I don't know what's going on with my cousin. It's really weird. Like, I don't know why he's being like that. Like, up to that point, I'd only been nice to him." And then my mum was right. I was full of hurt. It was painful to hear her say I was full of hurt, because it felt like another wound for her to even say that I was full of hurt. She was right. I was full of hurt. just wanted to be friends with my cousin, because I suppose I never had a brother. So, and he never had a brother either. And I just wanted us to be brothers to each other. It's just what I wanted. That's why it hurts now when people do want to be a brother to me. People have wanted to be like a brother to me. Apparently, I didn't always feel like it, but I guess that's why it didn't. That's why I couldn't trust it. That's why I couldn't trust it. Because when finally, when finally just the whole part about insomnia is that it's like, it feels like everyone else is asleep. Like, I'm awake and I suppose I was just attached to sleep. Still am attached to sleep. Because it's like just some relief from the constant chatter of the mind, the constant anxiety. I had an experience with meditation today. I don't know what it was, all I know it was powerful. It felt like thinking stopped. And it's just, I got really scared. So I just opened my eyes. I thought, I'm disappearing. I can't do it. I was like, thinking has stopped. Thinking stopped. And it was just black, I guess. There was just feeling, and I could hear my heart beating really fast. And my heart hurt. But thinking stopped. And it was so scary. I'm not ready to let go of thinking yet. even though thinking can cause suffering, but I'm just so anxious. Just so much anxiety, and it's probably just, it's not doing me any good. It's excessive, I suppose, excessive effort. I've been putting too much effort in, not enough concentration, just too much effort, and just been doing probably too much vipassana without enough samadhi. But I try and do samadhi and it doesn't work. I don't know how to do samadhi. I only really know how to do vipassana. That's how I got there last time. But this time there's just too much anxiety for vipassana. And I'm just noting vipassana, noting everything non-stop, but it's just, I'm not calming down. I'm just noting everything. But of course, wanting to calm down just makes it worse, because that creates more tension. So the only thing is to allow the mind to calm down. I just remember the experience I had. I tried to calm myself down by just sending metta to all beings. I don't know if thinking stopped, then how can I send out metta to all beings? I guess it did temporarily seem to stop, and there was just feeling and pain and I guess fear, but the conceptualizing had stopped, and that was scary. And then I had the idea, okay, it just send out metta to all beings. And then I opened my eyes and I was like, what the hell was that? What the fuck was that? Oh my God, what the hell was that? What the fuck was that? What is that? So I don't know what it is. It could have, there's no guarantee. It could have been if the thinking stops at first jhana. It could have been that. It could be something similar. It could be a combination of lots of things. It may not be just one thing. It may be, just extreme panic, cut off oxygen to the brain. It could have been that, plus maybe they're linked to an extent that something like that happens, and it shows you how experience ceases, because if brain activity ceases, then it shows you that everything ceases and you let go of it. But it was a really weird thing. I still have fear, but I don't wish anyone harm anymore. And maybe I've still got, maybe ill will is still there, maybe it isn't. I don't know. They say you can lose ill will. Maybe it at least felt like it went temporarily. When I got out of bed, it felt like I felt this moment of calm, and my voice completely changed. I don't know, unless it was a mini heart attack or a mini stroke. I don't know what it was. I may never know what it was, or I may eventually know what it was. I guess it just, felt like something, and I just felt, oh my God, there's no reason not to love anyone, because even someone who is angry, even someone who is greedy, they're still suffering. Especially if they're very angry, they're suffering possibly more than you could possibly suffer as a human. To be stuck in anger, or to be angry all the time, is just terrible suffering. So if there's people in my family who are angry, it's even more reason to love them. And I guess I was just afraid, and I just wanted to call everyone up and say, I love you, I love you, I love you. But I suppose I'd be acting out of fear. Because I am afraid, because I feel so alone, because I realise how alone we are with our own minds. Ultimately, that's all we have is experience. We're alone with our own mind. Thankfully, I have gratitude for my wife, because she feels like the only person I can call, that I can trust, without just someone treating me like I'm crazy and just feeling worse, feeling even more self-conscious about myself. We should all love each other. Everyone should have good will for everyone. There's no good at all in wishing anyone bad. It only harms ourselves to wish anyone bad. Only harms ourselves. So I forgive my mother. Because I know she was suffering. She may still be suffering. So I wish her all the best. I don't want her to suffer. I don't want anyone to suffer. I love my mother. I've always loved her and I always will. That's why I was so hurt. And maybe that's why she was so hurt by the things I did. If we didn't love each other, then we wouldn't be hurt by each other's actions. It's hurtful when someone you love. That's why she was so upset when I blocked her. I blocked her because I was upset with what she was saying, but she was only saying what she was saying because she was suffering herself. Sometimes I just want to call her up and I just want to say, I love you, Mom. I love you so much and I'm so sorry. But it's late, it's 11 o'clock. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to my sisters and I'm sorry to my dad and I'm sorry to my wife for the times that I upset her, for the times that I spoke about not wanting to be with other women and all this nonsense. I never want to be with another woman. Ever. No other woman comes close. known in a million years. A woman like her is one in a million. She's been there all along. I wish for every man who does want to get married that they find a woman like her. She's been there through everything. No matter how much pain it's caused and no matter how much stress. And I never wanted to stress her out, but she stopped by me. I have no one to call right now without disturbing them because it's late and 11 o'clock, and for the first time I'm putting them first. I'm not gonna call. I'm gonna manage these emotions myself because I don't want to create any more bad karma by upsetting anyone anymore. I'm just sorry for everything, and I'm sorry, Yuttadharma. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Yuttadharma. Because I sent him an email where I was really angry. There were a lot of horrible things I was saying I wanted to do in that email. And I suppose I wanted him to help me. I felt like I needed to tell him how angry I was. But the best response was no response, because it's forced me to face what I needed to face. But I just want to say I'm sorry. I love you, Yuttadharma. I love you. You've helped me so much. Thank you, Yuttadharma. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Venerable. Thank you. I thank you for your teachings. Thank you for everything. Thank you for showing me patience. I'm just sometimes afraid of the bad karma, and I know that you would say afraid, afraid, afraid. You've helped so many people. You may never know how many people you've helped. Or maybe you will know. Maybe you'll see it all and you will know. So I just wanted to send this message out, I guess. Just feeling like I want to say that we should just be kind and care for all beings, and human beings, animals, all beings. We shouldn't do anything that causes suffering to our fellow beings. We may at one point been in a similar position to them, or worse. We don't know. We may have been. I think that's worth thinking about. And I've realized the difference between the wise attention to faults and the difference between that and anger. And I realized that I can still, it's okay to discern what to do based on, oh, this person may be being, I can detect that this person is maybe being crafty. There's a chance they could want to hurt me. And rather than get hurt and put them in the position as well to commit that bad karma, you can avoid that situation. That's wisdom. Whereas to run away, screaming and panicking away from them is it's not a skillful thing to do, because that will draw attention, and then you'll attract exactly what you're afraid of. So that's what I did today, and maybe this sounds conceited to say it, but I'm just journaling my progress. So I feel it's what I need to do, whether it sounds conceited or not, or is conceited, I don't know. If that's something I've still got to let go of, then maybe it is something that's worth going. But I just feel at the moment it's appropriate to share that that's what I did. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't normally do that. I normally panic and just go crazy. And I did just walked away. I just walked away, and then I called my wife, and originally I was going to say, oh, I don't know what the hell they're planning on doing. I don't know whether they think I'm crazy and they're going to section me or something, because I've seen that happen before. It does happen with people where they think. And she was like, originally I was like, oh, I'll get an Uber. And I was about to do that. I called Ubers, and then I cancelled them because I realized she was right. Because she said to me, you forget all the drama. You're getting caught up in all the drama. Just go home. And I realized, yeah, it's just anxiety just bubbling up and making me just thoughts just spinning, and one thought leading to another, and the feeling is playing in with the thoughts, and it's all spiraling. And and I'm thinking, I've got to go there because if they come to my house, they're gonna take me away. But I'm here, I'm home, I'm safe, and they're not. What's it? They're not. They're not here. They may ring me tomorrow. They could ring me tomorrow, and that's fine if they do. I hope they don't just randomly turn up in the middle of the night or something and say, oh, you left hospital, blah, blah, blah. If they do, my plan is just to calmly deal with it and have goodwill towards them and wish them well, and just say, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for checking on me. I appreciate that. I'm okay. And realize that this is what's been causing me suffering, this anger towards other people, this seeing other people as a threat. Other people aren't the threat. It's the mind that's the threat. It's the mind that is the threat to itself, you could say. The stories it creates, the loops that it gets in. There is nothing good that comes from wishing anyone bad or getting angry with someone. There's nothing good other than it can teach you the lesson not to do it when you realize how much suffering it causes. So and I realise it's when people ask, I've been annoyed for so long that people ask this question, that question, and try to pry and, all of this stuff. And I realised they're hurting themselves when we do that. Like, when any of us say to anyone else, oh, why this, why that, and, try to suggest that the other person is doing something wrong, or when at the end of the day, it's some things are just not the other person's business. But a lot of the time I realize is that everyone's projecting almost always. Whenever someone takes an issue, you get what you're looking for, and you're looking for yourself. You're looking for, it's like a mirror. It's when you look at someone, you're like, oh, that person does this. Oh, I really don't like that person does that or something. And it's, when that's there, that disliking is there, that's just, well, it's useless. There's no benefit to disliking what they're saying. But also, it's not a reason to be angry with them. It's a reason to have compassion for them, because someone who is doing that is suffering. Someone who feels that they need to ask someone's business is because they're trying to fill some sort of void in themselves. That's why they want to know what someone else is doing, because they're insecure in what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, and they're not at peace, so they want to know someone else's information. That's what, I guess you could say that's what gossip is. That's what the news is. They want, people look for these feelings of, what watching the news and, looking for the feeling of fear that's, I guess, already there, and somehow you're seeking out more of that fear, or looking for that feeling of resentment by looking at someone on the news who won the lottery. You get what you're looking for, and then of course the algorithm detects and works it out and then sends you more of that, and you're in an echo chamber of your own beliefs and your own projections onto other people. You know, and it felt like maybe it's my own anger, maybe it's projection, but it just felt like that the receptionist was angry. Was angry that, or irritated, let's say, that I spoke to that guy who had some sort of mental health issues, possibly some sort of alcohol dependency. And I think they were irritated with me that I didn't keep the rules of standing right outside the desk. So they made sure that they wanted to either make sure that he didn't interact with me or I didn't interact with him. They didn't want to give him the opportunity. A guy who's just smiling, who may have mental health problems, but you can see the warmth and love in his face. He's just crying out to be loved, crying out for a hug, crying out for someone to tell him they love him. And no one gives that to him because everyone's afraid of speaking to him. Everyone just walks by and ignores him. I guess I could relate to that. So I smiled at him. I smiled at him and he said, he knew I meant well for him. He knew I had good intentions for him because I did. Because I knew how they were. I knew how they were treating him. I knew that they weren't being kind and compassionate. Which would be the skillful thing to do. To be kind and compassionate to someone who is already suffering. To someone who's already addicted, trying to drown their pain. So I said I loved him. And he said he loved me. And they probably think I'm crazy. They may think I'm crazy for saying that, and that's why they may have said in the hospital, we'll sort you out, and they may have been waiting. They may have just kept me waiting there. And then they may have sectioned me if I'd stayed there. But I don't think that he's as crazy as people think, and I don't think that I'm as crazy as they may have thought. People may think it's crazy to tell someone you've just met that you love them. But why shouldn't? Why should we only love the people that directly benefit us, you could say, or directly show us affection, like our children and our partners and our friends? And why should we not love everyone? That doesn't mean trust everyone or let people hurt you who could be dangerous. But he was no threat. He was smiling. He could see I was anxious. He said for me to have some water. He said for me to, would you like some squash? He was next to the water and the squash, and it was just a simple, kind thing to offer someone. And I'll never forget him. And I hope that he never forgets me. Because I will remember that there are warm, kind people out there who may have their own issues, they may be suffering, but they're kind and they're warm and they're not judgmental. And they're open. And he was one of those people. And in that moment I was not judgmental. I just went by what he told me, that he struggles with alcohol, because he said, what's your issue? I said, it's just anxiety, just panic. I said I was lying down. I said I was doing meditation. I just got this panic. And he said, oh, I drink a lot to cope with my anxiety. And then see, it didn't seem like the appropriate thing to start talking about, you shouldn't drink, I shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. It's could probably be pretty dangerous to meditate and be drinking a lot of alcohol. I don't know enough about him to start talking about that, and especially once I realized that how they were looking at how they were treating him and how they were treating me for wanting to engage with him and just wanting to be kind to him, and for him just wanting to be kind to me. Once I realized what was happening, I knew that it was the best thing just to go without even telling them. There's no law that says I have to tell them. I said if I told them, then they said no, you can't go, you have to stay, and then I possibly would have panicked, and one thing would have led to another, and then they could somehow go and inject you and say you're crazy, because one thing leads to another, and it's the fear of sometimes the fear of something happening is what causes it, because the non-reactivity is what's going to save your ass, so to speak. What's going to sort of be the saving grace is to not react, is to just meditate and meditate on that feeling of fear, just mindfully walk away, and that's what I did. Although I was panicking, thinking they could find me as I'm walking back. I was, but I said, in the end, I calmed down. I got home, and then I went to the supermarket, and tonight I've ordered a book and on Buddhist cosmology by Ajahn Pudhanamo. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. Ajahn Pudhanamo. And as I said, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I don't know why I struggle with project anxiety, I'm not sure to pronounce it. But book on Buddhist cosmology, which I can, I'll let you know. I'll message you the spelling, or anyone else who may be interested. Just let me know, and I highly recommend his channel. Is fantastic. His channel was what showed me you just such wisdom. Is that you just have to push through it, as scared as you may be. Just keep noting, just keep going there, and you will make it to the other side. But the only way is to face it as hard as it is, because facing it, you'll have to face it in the end, one way or another. So better off to face it
voluntarily. And part of it I feel I did face. If maybe it may not have been the experience I thought I had. It could have been anything, but I don't know what it was, but it felt like something. And maybe I'll never know what exactly it was, and maybe I don't need to know. All I know is that things just make more sense now, even though there's probably an element of paranoia, but there's paranoia based on fear, and the way that I can see that they responded. Was my therapist, she told me your sensitivity to people's moods and everything is heightened. It's, I guess, probably a confusion between my emotions and their emotions, where I'm so afraid and so tense or so distressed that I'm seeing any kind of slight mannerisms I'm seeing in them as everything's a danger. Everything finds a danger. Everything makes me jump. The slightest movement. But I realize what never scares me is when people are mindful. Like when I watched Thich Nhat Hanh today, the way he was doing this beautiful movement with his arm, and it was just like he was doing this, like he was doing it so mindfully, and it was so beautiful to watch in this video where he was just lifting the mic, whatever, getting the mic ready, and then he made a little joke and said, "Oh, it's what did he say? I'm fussing too much because he's not taking himself too seriously, and there's something in that. There's something in not taking yourself too seriously and being able to laugh at yourself. And I mean, what a man he was. I mean, what a man he was. What a man he was. What a being. What a human being he was. What a person. And And sometimes doctors don't know what they're talking about when it comes to mental health, or when it comes to physical health. I mean, they gave me the impression by what they were saying when my mother-in-law was in hospital. They gave me the impression that she may not come out, or they were saying she's very unwell. Like, it was like they were suggesting, they weren't giving a date of when she should come out, and there didn't seem to be any optimism from them that she'll be able to leave hospital. And I just remember sending out, I don't know what effect it had. If it did have an effect or not, I don't know, but all I know is it felt like the right thing to do. And I sent out metta strong. I remember just sending out metta during meditation, and I also prayed as well, because my wife is from a Sikh family. She's also interested in Buddhism, but she was out of respect, and it still felt good to still pray as well. I just said, I know that, whatever, God, karma, whatever, like, I know you don't do it usually, like Luther Vandross in the cell, I said, I know you don't do it, like, but she really wants to see us get married, and she really wants to see twins being born. And something in the universe, I don't know what, but there was something that meant that despite cutting myself as hard as I could on both arms and both legs, that there was something that meant that I survived. And I guess I prayed and I meditated in just this wish that that whatever that was, that meant that I survived, whether it was karma, whether it was a divine being, whether it was metta from someone, whether it was just simple physics of the way I did the knife just missed the artery, whatever it was, it saved my life. And whatever it was, whatever the combination of factors that countered, meant that prognosis, that what they were indicating, that she may not be able to leave, because they weren't even saying like, oh, a few months. They were just, it really felt like they were saying like, this is it. And in a way, that meant that I could say what I said and send metta and so on. And I've realised that sometimes if you feel really unsure what to do, it's best sometimes just to not do anything. Because when you're in that tangle of what do I do? And anxiety and the feelings and the thoughts are spiraling, you're not in a position to make a decision. Of course, you want to make a decision to get out of that, to relieve the anxiety, but it's not necessarily going to be a good decision. It's not necessarily going to be a wise decision. It may be something that you can then learn from, but it won't necessarily be the habit worth getting into, let's say. Sometimes a one-off thing, oh, I can learn from that. Like today at the hospital, and I realized, now I know, okay, that's what I've learned. Not to make that mistake again. If I'm in a panic, don't call 999, because unless, well, I mean, there was once where I called I called panic attack because I didn't know it was a panic attack. I thought it was something else, and that's another story. And then I was living back in London with my parents at the time, and so what was going on with the dynamic with them was just this constant anxiety, this constant hurt that I was feeling, the things I was hearing. I suppose that was what I needed to learn. I'm still learning it, to make more of it. Just hearing is just hearing, and if it becomes anger or feeling, then that's just the emotion. And the longer you can bear with it, the less chance of it escalating, snowballing. It's quite simple, but not easy to do. It's patience. So it's a lot of patience. A lot of patience. Yeah, it's it's true that society doesn't demand as much as we think they may demand. They just expect a lot. And when we don't meet their expectation, I don't know how everyone else feels, but I know that I feel that sense of feeling like I'm being judged, like that person is disappointed, like I failed, you know, I couldn't make it work, I couldn't be a success, and all of this, and all of this crap that just spins in the mind. And but what I realise is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to matter that they expect that, because so long as they don't physically force you to the point where it's bad for them and it's bad for the person that they're potentially abusing. It's okay to walk away, to not meet society's expectation. one thing I've also realised is what's caused me a lot of problems is my stubbornness. I've been stubborn for such a long time, and maybe there's still a certain amount of stubbornness there that still needs to go, but I realised today that, it's okay, even if I've got a feeling that I think I should do this, like it really just feels like I've got to do it. A lot of the time that's being driven by fear, anxiety, distress, and just a mental tangle. And it's okay that I'm anxious in that moment, and it's okay to accept that, someone else, such as my wife, is, particularly at that moment in time, thinking more rationally, calmer, and in that moment is able to give me a better idea, a better solution, wisdom. So, my advice, for what it's worth, is to, when you're talking to someone and you think you really know the right thing to do, and you may be telling them, I'm going to do this, or threatening you, watch out, blah, blah. Consider that they may well be right for telling you not to do that if they are talking more rationally than you are. If you analyze what you're saying and think about the ill will and the anger behind what you're saying, you may realize that it may well be worth listening to someone who has more wisdom, especially more wisdom to give in that moment. In those moments. So I'm going to wrap this video up. If you've made it this far in the video, then I appreciate your patience, and appreciate you taking the time to taking the interest, and I'm interested too. I'm interested to know just interested to know more. In the Buddha's teaching.